Hey!
Hello.
Now we're going to talk about knife safety. And this is a disclaimer. Do not give a child a knife that their parents aren't okay with. I accidentally made that mistake with Emily when she was about 7 and gave her a knife, and she ended up, cutting herself accidentally. And I felt incredibly bad. So now that she's older and her father has given her a knife, which I think is something that, parents should do, stuff like your first knife, your first gun should be something from your parents. And he gave her knife that she'll be using, and I'll use one of mine. And we'll talk about knife safety and how to use one properly and why a folding knife is in some cases better than a fixed blade knife, and a fixed blade is better than a folding knife. And she will be highly supervised, and she's not dumb. Okay?
No.
So, I want to get that out. Now, we're going to start with a folding knife. She has her knife.
It's a Gerber.
Tell me about your knife and how you got it.
So my daddy gave this to me, and it's just a little mini Gerber, and this is really all I need for. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I can do like
That works really well. And then I'll be using a panel. And if you look about the length of them, they're about the same. Mine is just a little bit bigger for my hands, but for her hands, that's what she uses, and that's what works for her. Now, when you open a knife, let me get situated here. On a folding knife, you have the handle, which is here, the blade, and the pivot. Okay, so hold the knife. I'm right-handed, so I always open with my right hand. I don't know about you.
Open with my left hand and hold with my right.
Okay. Hold it to where you're not going to cut yourself. Pinch the blade. Pull and make sure this cutting edge right here is down. Okay? When you hold a knife, your instinct is to do this.
Yeah, that's just what I done.
Okay.
You're not supposed to do that, though.
Now, this is a locking knife, just like hers is. It's a little different lock mechanism, but it's a locking knife. Do not trust these locking blade 100%. They will fail. Okay, so hold the knife like this. This is the proper way. Let me work it that way for you. Okay, because if it fails,
it cut your finger.
It cut my finger if I wasn't holding it like that. Okay. Now, for small tasks, for, say, sharpening a pencil but feather sticking, right? You do not need you see how I pushing on it, how it just did that? Let's see if I can make it do it again. No, it's not locked, but a slip joint usually don't have a lock, see? So, just feather, just like that. Okay, now, Emily, you try. How you just normally would. Let me adjust the camera for you. Okay. See how she's maintaining control of the knife. She's not going gung-ho on it. She's doing what she needs to do.
Got a little nervous there for a minute.
Okay.
But it's really not hard.
No.
If you was taught properly.
Okay. Now, when you're using to bore down, which is, I'm using my wife's kitchen chair, which she's really happy with. So we won't be bearing down on that. But if you are bearing down to do a point, to make a drill point. Okay, here we hold this. Yeah, let's hold that for me.
Mine locks like this. See, it's got a little point right here. This is the lock.
Say I'm bearing down to make a hole, to bore a hole. I have the lock engaged, right? And I'm bearing down on it, and I'm holding it like this, which is wrong. That snaps back, it's going to cut me to the bone. Okay?
A lot of people hold theirs like that, though.
if you hold it like this, which you do have to kind of adjust to, if this bears down, I'll show it. I'll do it in slow motion because I don't want to bleed all over the place. But as you're bearing down, see? Just a little. Now on this is a fixed blade knife. I'll just grab one. I got a basket beside me. Not that I'm rich or anything. It's just I like sitting there watching TV, messing with them. On a fixed blade knife, you don't have to worry about that. The only thing you got to worry about is you losing control over, it hitting your leg, which we're going to talk about. Okay? This is why most of the time your outdoor knives are fixed blade. See, I can put as much pressure as I want. Sorry, you okay?
Yeah.
And not worry about it, in theory, not hitting my little niece. Okay? Which it didn't hurt her. She's fine.
I'm fine. It hit my hair.
Okay. And see, that was me not being safety conscious. I meant to do that. Okay.
I'm going to try to set this up right.
Now, let's look at this like this. You have a triangle of death. Emily, would you like to use my knife or your knife?
Honestly, myself, I like to use that knife because it is fixed. But if I was traveling, if I was hiking, I would prefer a pocket knife because it shuts.
When you hand a knife, most people just say, here. Okay.
That's wrong.
The proper way to hand a knife is if you look, I got the knife in what's called the hammer position, hammer holding position. I roll it back on the fat part of my thumb, like that.
And then I grab
I hand her. There's
and
no
I
way.
do not slide it on that part of his thumb. I pick it up.
There's no way anyone can get cut with that method. Now, I'm going to have you, there's parts that you want to avoid. Okay? If you're sitting there, you want to avoid, or here's what you want to do. The inner thigh.
Right here.
The other inner thigh. The stomach area. This is called the triangle of death because you have major arteries of blood going through there. So when you whittle out here where her hand is. Like, show me how you whittle. Here's just a stick.
Okay, so I'm always going like this.
And see, by doing that, she cannot cut any part of her.
Now, I'm not going to whittle. I'm just going to pretend like I am, but see like I'm not.
And a safety thing too would be to hold your hands, your hand flat on your leg like this. Take this and pull back this hand.
Oh yeah.
You see, this blade is never moving. She can do that.
That is one thing. I did not think of that.
She can also take the blade, put it down on the table facing away from her, and then
I got you.
Do this. I'm not going to put it in my wife's chair, but she can do this if she doesn't feel comfortable enough doing it. Now, you'd want to obviously make sure the knife is anchored in whatever it is you're using. Okay? Any knife will work. It does not have to be a Bark River. A $8 a pennel. This a pennel will cut, slice. Look at that. You can make them. If I get down here and I'm away from me, I will not cut my triangle of death. See, look how easily that's just slicing. I'm not even putting pressure on that, am I, Emily?
One thing that I do notice people do is, and this is, I've done, that's how, when I cut my thumb really bad one time, and the way I done it was the knife, I had it, I'm not opening this knife, but I had it going this way.
I'll hold it. You can open the knife if you want.
Okay. But I'm not going to cut or nothing, but I had it going like this towards my thumb, and it went, and I slipped, and it cut my thumb all the way down. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing, is whenever you are whittling or whatever, you want to go away from your body. Because if, say my thumb wasn't there, it could have got my whole arm right here, it could have hit my stomach. That's the triangle of death, y'all. Mm-hmm. It could have hit my elbow, and right here is where some blood vessels are,
The majority of cuts according to doctors and statistics, happen right here along the finger. Can you see? Okay. I'm just going to flip the camera around. That'll be easier. Okay. Now, see, like along through there is the majority of cuts. Okay. And what stops it is the bone. Okay. Now I'm going to show you a little trick.
Okay.
I got some fat wood here.
Yeah, this is our area.
Yeah. I got my wife's really proud of me. She loves me. She's awesome. Okay. Now, most people will sit and do it like this, and they'll force the knife like this.
Yeah.
Or they'll do this. What happens is when this does go, it's going to go right into your hand. Now, there's two different ways you can do this. One, you can do here and push down like that. Okay. You can do that. That stops. There's nothing below it. We'll just finish it out. Right?
Just like that.
Okay. But a more safe way to do it is hold your knife like this. Don't put it to the side. Right? Can you see?
Yes.
And if you have to push, like right here, push from the top. Like I'm not nowhere near touch. See how that just jabbed?
Yeah.
Now, if I do it like this, see, that can be wrong.
Yeah, that can cut.
Okay. But here's the kicker. If I have to hold it and I'm doing it like this, and I'm doing that, the far down as it can go is my hand. You see? Mm-hmm. So this is a safer way of being stupid. But sometimes when you have to do it, that's the proper way to avoid being cut or to minimize yourself being cut. The proper way is to just do it like this, have this rested on something, and just lightly. See? But if you have to bear down, instead of bearing down like this right here and then wondering why you're bleeding, get up on top of it like this and keep your hand out of the way. And if you can, just do it like that. Okay? Yeah. Because it'll only go down as far as your hand is. See? See how I just did that? See how I just did that? And it only went that far when it slipped? Like I said, that is not recommended. But while we're here, we'll do some stuff on fat wood. This stuff is resin saturated pine. Feel how sticky that is. And I have a phobia of being sticky. So you know how much I love you.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Strange. So
shave off some fat wood. Right? Now this is so gummy it's not really going to shave at well. Okay. Just this little bit right here. And if you have a knife with a sharpened back, that's why I love panels. All our panels are like this. We'll take this other one so you don't think I'm messing around with it. You ready? And see, it makes those things like that. This stuff is highly flammable. Okay? To the point of let me see the lighter. I would say within 3 seconds this will be burning. I'm gonna blow it out obviously, but see?
Yeah. I mean that just and if you had a normal piece that would not happen that fast. Even feathering it wouldn't happen that fast.
And my hands are sticky, so we're gonna pause it while I go wash my hands about 100 times. Hit finish.